Dustin Weinkoff here, product specialist with Agland. Today we're going to go through our product support video for our C-Series air carts. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get ready to bring our air cart out of storage and into service for the season. So at the end of the season, we've washed our tanks down, blown them out really well, cleaned our meter rolls up, maybe reinstalled them, and then maybe we added some floor dry. So now we need to remove that floor dry, make sure everything's out of the tank, everything's clean and ready to go for the season. So what we're going to do first here is we're going to remove our meter plug cap. Now if you did store it with your meter cartridge in there, you can take it out. We're going to want to make sure that our bottom door here is open so all of our product can dump down, and that our slide handle is pushed in to allow all the product to come down. Lastly, what we need to do is make sure that our half-width disconnect is open, so our handle in the down position. Then we can go in, we can blow everything out, make sure everything's nice and clean as well. Great time to remove our meter cartridge cups here and make sure everything's clean there. Next, what we're going to go through is some daily maintenance. The first thing that we want to do is make sure that we're cleaning out our meter rolls. So we recommend doing that daily, and if not daily, every second day for sure. So pulling those meter rolls out, making sure they're clean, that there's no product stuck in the gates, built up in the roller, no fertilizer dust built up in the meter roll or the housing itself. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to make sure that our half-width disconnect is closed. So our handle's in the up position. Unplug our wire and remove our meter roll. So as we're looking at our meter roll here, we want to make sure that everything's clean, and especially on the back side here where our meter gates are, we want to make sure that we don't have any product built up in here, fertilizer dust, broken peas, fertilizer prills. What will happen is if something's holding this gate just slightly open, we'll be getting gate detection errors in the cab saying the gate is closed when commanded open, and all it may very well be is just slightly held open here. So with this down, we can see in here there is a little magnet, and that makes contact with our gate detection rod that runs through here. So making sure this is blown out and cleaned really well is important. As well, looking in our meter housing here, we want to make sure that it's blown out, that all of our solenoid pins here for our section command gates are nice and clean. Great idea to pull out your cartridges at the same time. So when we pull these out, we can see we have our foam here. So for 6-run carts, we make sure that we have foam in our center two. 8-run carts, you won't have any foam here. One thing to note when installing them is making sure they go back in the right way. Your right one does have a hole here for your tank pressurization gauge. One thing to note is if we're starting to have tank pressurization issues, gauges reading high or low, we're not getting proper readings. One thing to look for is the hoses that connect our meter box to our tank pressurization gauges on our display may be plugged. We've maybe got a fertilizer prill in there, some dust, a buildup of product. So we want to make sure we clean those out. So with the cartridges out, in here we can see the plastic fitting in there. Over on the other side, we can disconnect the hose, make sure it's clean. And then on the other side as well, that's where we can blow out the hoses. We'll go over there and take a look. So over on the side here, to get to our little fitting there in our tank pressurization hose, we can just pop it off on our meter here. We can blow through right here, put a wire through, make sure that the passage is clear, and then we can blow these hoses out. This one here will go to a sensor mounted right here. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we remove the hose off of our sensor and blow through it. As if we blow to the sensor, we can pop it. Then from there, there's another hose that runs up and goes up to the top of your tanks. We're going to want to make sure that that's clear and that there are no breaks in that hose if we are getting any tank pressurization issues. Now, putting everything back together, we want to make sure we're putting our cartridges in. Our right side, obviously the one with the hole, goes in first. And when these go in, that it's nice and clean in there and that they snap back into place. So putting this one in here, kind of slide it in, get it into position. Our next one. There, and snapped in. So for servicing and greasing on the C-Series air cart, very simple. There's a total of 14 grease nipples on here. Our conveyor is completely greaseless. So on each of our meter boxes here on the left-hand side, there is one grease nipple on each of the locking handles. Those are yearly, and now we'll go over to the other side. So on our meters, each of them here, we have 2 grease nipples on the right-hand side. They are 50-hour grease nipples. So the one here is on our meter drive shaft right here in behind, and our second one is on our agitator. So again, those are 50-hour grease nipples on all 4 of our meters. And as well, it's a good idea once a year to oil your chains as well. So we've got 1 yearly grease nipple here on each of our hubs, right side and left side. So at the start of the season, or when we hook up our air cart, we want to make sure that we do a hydraulic meter flush. What this will do is make sure that we have no air or debris in our power and beyond circuit. That'll do is make sure that our meters are running perfectly and that we get metering accuracy. So to do so, with our tractor running, we want to go to our diagnostics in our air cart run page, go to system maintenance. In the drop-down menu here, we want to select meter flush. From here, we can select each tank and hit start. Our meters will now turn and flush, making sure that there's no air or debris in the system. Also want to note while doing this, if there's any product in the tank, that you do have your half-width disconnects closed as the meters are turning. Next, what we want to do is a meter RPM test. This will verify that our meters can turn at the correct RPM to meet our rates. Diagnostics, tests, meter tests, and here we can select each tank. We want to enter 100 RPM, put a checkbox, and run for 15 seconds. You can then hit start. Watching down here, we can see the RPM. If we do not meet 100 RPM, this is a good indication that we are missing the load sense orifice in our power and beyond circuit. Repeat for each of the 4 tanks. So for cleaning out our conveyor on the C650, very simple. There's just a door here we're going to remove. On the C850s, there will be a different style latch on the bottom between your hopper and your tube. So on the 650s here, we're just going to remove both of these clips, pull it out. Here we can clean everything out. For prolonged storage and stuff, it is a good idea to leave this removed as well, so any rain or anything can flow directly back out. To reinstall it, go in. Need to make sure that we do go underneath the bolts here. and latch both sides.